Welcome back, everybody. This is Crippler with another walkthrough from the Cyber Apocalypse 2022 by Hack the Box. This one is going to be on Red Island. It is a medium difficulty, I would say. Um, there's no files to download, so you just have to get started. So I went ahead and launched the Docker instance already. And a little bit of a spoiler there. Here, let's try this again. All right, so you get greeted initially by this login page. You got login and register, not much else. You can look at the source, there's nothing there. So I just went ahead and created an account, test. You do a little bit of checking here. You can request back to yourself, but it doesn't seem like there's really anything there. The other thing that I initially thought of was checking for local file readability, and we're able to read local files. So because we don't have any source code, I really wanted to start off and get the source code. So that is the first thing I did. Based on some of the other example or the other challenges and the files that we were able to download, it seemed like everything was getting put in the app folder, which is pretty standard for Docker containers. So I went ahead and checked there. I also checked var, www, HTML, but nothing was there. So because this is a node instance, I was able to grab the files. So it's actually kind of easier to do it via Burp Suite. Probably have to enable this, reload. Burp should have on. Try that again. All right, let's send this to repeater. And so we can get this. Let's go ahead and grab the file contents. And then we can kind of go back here and create our new file. And this will kind of let us see what's going on the backside of everything. There's definitely going to be some extra stuff. So I just do a find and replace using regex. I just say, all right, all my new lines, I want to set to new line. Replace all. It's looking a lot better. Same thing with tab. We're going to set those to actual tabs. And then the last thing is these escaped parentheses or quotes. And then we'll just that. Place all that. So this is what our index.js looks like. So just starting off the back, some of the other challenges, it was important to look at what was included, and so we're going to look at the same thing. We see right here that we have redis, so there is something on the back end, which since we're able to make requests, that really kind of drove me towards that, being able to access that redis instance. We can look at some of the other stuff. We'll notice that we have views, subfolder, and static. I didn't really dig into static too much, but there's also routes and database. And since those are local, I went ahead and grabbed those as well, just so I can kind of see what was going on the back end. Let's see. Database.js just to see. So here's our database file. The same thing we just did. Grab that. Probably should have scripted this part out, but it's easy enough. And same thing. Go back and do our new lines. tabs. And we have our file. And so we can kind of look through here. We'll see that it's using SQLite for the database. So it's using Redis for the sessions, but it's creating a SQLite database for all the users. And you can actually see that as well if you do Redis land.db. You'll see that we get that SQLite file that we're able to access, but we really don't care about that. So the way to solve this is utilizing Redis, and because Redis uses a CLI type of interface, if you're able to connect on 6379, we are able to interact with it. The other portion, there is another section that I should have already downloaded that I did not, and that's in the helpers, I believe. Let's use burp again. Well, here, we'll start off. We're able to find everything if we use routes. That'll be the next one we'll grab. And this is the path that I took to get everything. App routes. Is it route? No, it's routes. Maybe. Oh, yeah. Routes index.js. That's how we do it. Yep, there we go. And you could look up standard file formats and that kind of stuff to get a lot of this. Go ahead and routes index.js. Same here. Our new lines. And so we'll see there's some other things here. So these are interesting because these look to be user manufactured. So we have these helpers, create red and image downloader. I'm not super familiar with Node, so I may be far off on that, but let's go ahead here. Helpers. All right. Good. I'll grab that one. Grab this one. All right, and so image downloader is actually the one that I wanted to look at. So just double check, make sure image downloader, yeah. So we'll grab that one. And so we'll see that it's utilizing the curly library, which is basically just curl. And that really, so that allows us to utilize a whole bunch of protocols, which is why we're able to do the local file read, as well as what we need for the Redis instance. So if we look up curl protocols, turn off burp because that's killing me. All right. So we can see that there's a bunch of different protocols, and this is the one that intrigued me because I remember seeing this on an IPSec video at one point, I believe. But it's basically allowing us to pass whatever data we would like to. And so I actually did not solve this during the CTF. I was like 90% there. Somebody, XNet, Zenet, or whatever, however you want to say it, he posted a script that basically lets you interact and execute commands, so it's more of like a web shell. Basically, it's using Gopher against a Redis instance, and then it is using this Redis Lua sandbox escape. So it's a recent CVE from 2022, 2022-0543. And so you can see down here that there's a couple of different options. You can either have one where it reads out the data. We're not going to get an interactive terminal because we're using curl to execute our commands. So we really want to use this one here. And what XNet did is he was able to, he uses this eval to load the liblua library. And then you're opening it, and then we're creating the ability to use the OS library. And so then we're able to execute. And so he's just redirecting everything to this app static test.txt. And then he comes down here and he just does a get on that. So all the output from whatever command he executes gets displayed back to us because we're reading it from that test.txt. I spent most of my time trying to figure out how to do a reverse shell. I was trying to use cron tabs because I saw that as an option. I couldn't quite get it right. I saw another write-up where they were able to utilize the file read. So you can do like Redis, reverse shell, and I think this is one of the ones I was looking at. Yeah, so something like this, basically you would be able to echo your bash reverse shell into the CLI and set it to something. Then you would set your config directory so that it would be where your cron job is, and then you would set the file name to root, and then you would save it and quit. That would execute cron. I couldn't get it to work. It's possible that it would have worked, but what I ended up doing is I modified this Gopher shell to give me a reverse shell. And so this is what the code looks like. So we're using the request JSON and URL lib parse just like the other one was, but I'm specifying my target host and the URL, username and password. I actually go ahead and just do the register myself. So this will register the user. If it wasn't there, it would create it. But I don't really care if it is, so it just automatically does it because it's not going to stall. Then I go ahead and log in so I can get that session cookie, which will create that session or store it in the session. And then here we're using the same prefix, just Gopher for the protocol, specifying the 6379 on localhost, underscore, and then this is a suffix where it's just doing a /r/n quit. Just to make sure it clears that connection. But this actually doesn't really get executed because when we do the reverse shell, I'm doing the bash-c, bash-i, and we need to make sure that we're escaping. The quotations are really tricky here. That's probably what was messing me up the entire time. We just got to make sure that it fits in well within this whole thing, because here we have a single quote that encapsulates everything, and then we have a double quote right there. So we need to make sure that we're escaping it inside of this so that it doesn't mess up the formatting. But yeah, then we're just doing the eval, loading the library, executing that command, and we should get our reverse shell. So I already have session up. I need to start my netcat session. See, I was working on one of the other challenges. And then I'm just going to go ahead and do the over shell. Should be good. Oh. Always make sure. This is really dirty, so it's not complete, but go, we execute. And it pauses, and we have our shell. So we can look around. We are in the redis directory. We cd to the root. You can look around. There's nothing there. You can see that it is. Unfortunately, there's not an easy way to tell that I could see of what Redis server version we were working on. We just kind of had to hope that it was there. The cron tab may have been a little bit more stable of a solution, because it seems like that is key. You're able to do that as long as Gopher is enabled pretty commonly. But anyways, the one place we couldn't really see is in root. We could just do like a find name flag, and there we go. So, and there we have it. So it was a very cool challenge. Definitely, if you have the chance, give it a shot. It is. It lets you kind of, especially if you're looking through it, it lets you look at a lot of different things. Trying to look at possibly some type of just looking at the source code, trying to look for a vulnerability there, which there kind of was, but it was because we had the SSRF and Redis was running without a password on the back end. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. Have a good one.